Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here at the college. I'm going to talk to Coach Phil Gaffney about the Commodores, how they did this week, and what's coming up next week. Right now, Commodores 9-4 overall, ranked number 10 in the state coaches poll, but we had a rough week this week, Coach.
We did. We had a tough couple games that we knew were going to be tough. One was against a national ranked team, once against a team that was national ranked the week before. So our schedule just keeps getting tougher and tougher, and we got to match that intensity.
So we played South Georgia Tech, lost 75-71, but now we played them before, so we're 1-1 against them.
We are, but that was, on a neutral court. We beat them by 4 or 6 points in a very good game. They're a super talented team. Unfortunately, in that game, we got so far behind. We're down 21 with 5 to go, James. So on the bad part is we ended up losing the game. We had, but the good part is we cut 19 points off the deficit in the last 5 minutes of the game. So with 30 seconds to go, they had to shoot the ball. We had to get a stop, and 2-point game, and we didn't get the stop. And unfortunately, they hit the shot, and then we went down 4, and then the game was pretty much over. So we really need to just play defense one more time. So very proud of the guys that being down so many points, we could come all the way back from that massive deficit. Most teams with 5 minutes to go or down 21 they're done. They're quitting, James. We're out. We're done. We've had enough. And our guys fought all the way back to a 2-point game with 30 seconds. So give them a great amount of credit for that, but you got to wonder, how did we get down 21?
So in that case, if we look, it was 39-35 at the end of the first half, and then score in the second half was 43-41, and I'd heard you guys had dug a big hole in both halves. Was that true? You dig a hole in?
We got a little bit behind, and then we closed it back up, and then we got in a big deficit in the beginning of the second half. Just didn't come out, didn't play well. Give them credit. They have 3 or 4 players that are very, very good. Like I said, they were nationally ranked first couple weeks of the poll. They beat the number 6 team in the country at the number 6 team. So obviously this is a very good basketball team. They'll be very competitive and very possibly win their league up in Georgia. So they're a very good team. But there's no excuse. You can't lose at home. You have to win all your home games. There's no excuse for losing at home. And we're 1-2 at home right now, which is bizarre because we're 8-2 on the road, but 1-2 at home. So it's very strange. But we give them credit. They have an Australian point guard who's very good. And they had a kid that came off the bench that normally comes off the bench, just started and really destroyed us. And their big player, number 3, was outstanding. So we did not match their intensity. We played some very selfish basketball on offense and defense. And we waited till there was 5 minutes to go before we really played great. And unfortunately, it was too late.
And in this case, we only had 3 players in double figures. Now, Pierre-Louis with a 25-point game, it's good to see that out of him. And then Watson followed with 19, and you had one with 10. So scoring-wise, still okay, but we just come up short against a very good team. And when you dig that kind of hole, it's kind of hard to get out of sometimes. It's
terribly hard to get out of. So I give the guys credit for fighting back. We have a kind of a 3-headed monster with Jamie Pierre-Louis, who's having a great season. Yeah. Taurus Watson's coming as a freshman and been a leading scorer and our most consistent scorer every game, and Chase Forte. So we've had 3 guards who have been really, really done well for us this year. But the problem is you need a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh. And our bigs have not really stepped up and scored the ball at all. And that's an issue. It's an imbalance. We do have two bigger guys who played the 2, 3, 4, 5 for us, actually, that are going to be hopefully coming eligible. And hopefully we'll remedy that through them. But really, our bigs who are here now have got to score the ball. You got it. You're playing, a lot of that 4 and 5. You're 40 minutes. That's 80 minutes out of those two positions. And out of 80 minutes, we got to get some points. Somebody's got to score some points out of those 4 guys who play that 80 minutes, and they're not scoring at all. And they're getting the ball, but they're just not doing what it takes to score. So at some point during the year, and it's great that we're 9 and 4. But we need to have a balance, and once we get the balance, it'll make us a little bit more consistent.
Now, one person, if you looked just at the paper, at the sheets I have in front of me, you'd have thought we were on the road. We were 6 of 10 from the free throw line. They were 16 of 16 from the free throw line.
Yeah, first of all, give them credit that they made all their free throws, and as usual, we're a poor free throw shooting team, and we haven't. But the fact that they made more free throws and attacked the basket more than us, it's a little, you'd like to have more calls at home, but sometimes it doesn't go that way.
So in this case now, we played Florida Southwestern, came up short 68-61. Now, Florida Southwestern ranked number 4 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 25 in the NJCA national poll. So Commodores, first half, they won 33-32, and the second half they won 35-29. To a 68-61 loss against a nationally ranked team.
Yeah, our defense was much better. Eric Murphy does a great job. They're always going to Hutch, that team. So that's a Hutch team. That's a top 25 team in the country, usually a top 10 team in the country. They're very, very good. Again, we were up, I think, 5 with about 5 to go, and just shot free throws unbelievably poorly, and our bigs just missed a lot of layups again inside. We had numerous point-blank shots with nobody guarding you. And in college, when you have a point-blank shot and the defense kind of lets you go, you have to make the layup. And then, obviously, all the free throws we missed, nobody's guarding you at the free throw line. You have to finish those. So that's one that really upset because as opposed to South Georgia Tech, we've played very unselfish. We really guarded the ball. We played pretty good defense, pretty good offensively, but literally just couldn't make layups and couldn't make free throws. And again, the biggest culprits were the bigs. The guards pretty much did their job offensively. The bigs just having trouble making a layup and having trouble making a free throw. And if you can't make layups and free throws, you're going to really stress your defense and stress the rest of your offense, passing-wise and turnover-wise. And unfortunately, that's what we did. And we just, again, last minute of the game, we came up short.
So in that case, from the free throw line, they were 13 of 16 for 81.3%. We were 15 of 27. And so the free throw line, like you talked about, Coach, nothing moves, nobody's banging you, the goal's in the same place, nothing happens other than just a consistent shot.
I think 4 of those were 1-and-1s, right. So it's just we leave so many points on the board. And you can leave points on the board when you're playing somebody that's not very good. When you play a really good team, you cannot leave any points on the board. You need to finish. And we're not finishing, and our bigs are just going to have to get better, and it's my fault that they're not finishing inside, and it's my fault that they're not making their layups. We got to do a better job coaching them up to get them to do that.
And so in this case, we move on and we learn and we get better. Now, on the 17th, we go to South Georgia State to play Andrew, which is 5-4 overall. So what do you know about them, Coach?
Andrew's a well-coached team. Coach and Andrew played for the coach of South Georgia State. So they're an up-tempo team, maybe not pressing as much as maybe they have in the past, but they are a pressing team. They like, high octane, similar to Coastal Chaos that we have. And then South Georgia State's also a very good pressing team. And it's going to be extremely difficult. Out of all the places I've ever coached, South Georgia State's one of the most difficult places. Very, very, very small. They only have like 3 sets of bleachers. Tiny, and it's almost like a bathroom in there. It like reverberates. And so you're playing in somewhere where you put very few people in, and it's packed and it's loud. and extremely intimidating, tough to play. So I've had some of my greatest victories have actually been there. We won a Region 17 championship on their home floor when we went to a Final Four, and that was wonderful. But very, very difficult, and so it's going to stress us. And it's really the whole reason we played all these games. We've played so many road games and so many nationally ranked teams is because we want to be ready to win the state tournament. We're not going to try to go to the state tournament, cross our fingers, and hope to get a bid from the NCAA tournament. Florida's a three-bid state, so obviously 3 teams are going to go. We're trying to win the state, just like we did 2 years ago. We're trying to win it, and the way you win it is by playing tough road games and playing tough teams, as many tough teams as possible. And then when you get into the conference and you get in the state tournament, you're playing well and you feel good about yourself, and you get a good seed and you're prepared when March comes.
So, and then the next day we do play South Georgia State. They're 8-2 overall, and you kind of talked about the environment you'll be playing in. So, so that will be another good test. Kind of like you said, preparing for the conference when you go to Chipola or Northwest.
Exactly.
When it's loud and everybody else is talking about and cheering for their teams. And if we look at the panel conference standings right now, Northwest Florida State College is 13-1. They've won 10 in a row. Chipola College, 12-2. They just dropped one. Tallahassee's now 11-3. Gulf Coast State College, 9-4. And Pensacola State College, 8-6. So that's how the conference is doing. Now, if we look at the state coaches poll, Northwest ranked number 1, got 12 of the 14 first place votes. Chipola's 2, Indian Rivers 3, Florida Southwestern 4, Santa Fe 5, Tallahassee 6, Eastern Florida State 7th, Polk State 8th, State College of Florida 9th, and Gulf Coast State College rounds out the top 10 in there. And then the men's national poll hasn't been updated yet, but if we look at that, you've got Chipola right now ranked 3rd in the country, Northwest Florida ranked 8th, Santa Fe's 18th, Florida Southwestern's 25, which we talked about earlier.
Chipola's going to drop, obviously.
So,
they got beat at a buzzer beater. I don't know if you saw that, but it was pretty amazing. They hit a buzzer beater, unbelievable shot to drop, but they're going to be tough. They're missing, I think, like 3 starters right now, so if you think about it, there are 3 key players. Chipola's got a great record without 3 guys. When they get back, they'll be very good.
Wow.
Northwest is ultimately talented. They're a very, very good basketball team. And Tallahassee, Rick over there is doing a good job. So it's great coaching and it's good talent, and it's going to be tough. We got our work cut out for ourselves. The league is really, really good. We're going to have to try to get better this week. South Georgia State, they were also ranked like 2 weeks ago. So it's going to be just brutal, our schedule. The Massey ratings, I don't know if you're familiar with the Massey ratings, but it's a computer rating system, and they rate Division I football and basketball and strength of schedule and how good each team is. And they rank each team, and there's 450 about teams in JUCO men's basketball, and our schedule is the 3rd hardest in the country. So, you could say, well, what are we doing playing the 3rd hardest schedule? That's out of 450. That's crazy, but we think it's a good idea. Yep. We think it's going to help us get better. So we're going to take some losses and not get down when we lose, but try to be positive, pick it up, and learn from it. And then, again, the ultimate goal is, we want to get a bid to Hutch, but we don't have to cross our fingers and hope a seating committee, gets us. We want to win the state championship, and that's our only goal. So we have one focus: win the state championship. And the best way to do that is play as competitive schedule as possible and really compete against great teams and have our guys competing every single night, so that when we get to the state tournament, it was similar to when we played Florida Southwestern a few years ago. They were the #1 team, won 22 in a row, but they hadn't played the schedule we played. And when we went in, we beat them, solid win. We had played the schedule, so we were ready to go.
So playing that tough schedule will prepare you for the panel conference, one of the best probably in the country. So that's for Coach Phil Gaffney. I'm Jamie Spaxley. We'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Rory Kuhn, and talk about how the Lady Commodores are doing on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. The Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College's digital media program, and we want to thank the folks over at Sweet Bay for underwriting Coach's Corner. Coach Rory, Kuhn, and I will talk about some big wins last week, a break coming up, and kind of where the Commodores, Lady Commodores are. They're 10-2 overall. State Coaches Poll, Coach ranked 4th in the state, ranked 19th in the NJCAA national poll. So nice jump in to get back in that national poll.
Absolutely.
So,
I'll take it.
But when you play teams like you played this past week, that helps. And that hardest schedule in the country all comes into play. So in that case, so great games. But we played December 10th against Miami-Dade, 173-62. We won first three quarters, 17-15, 16-10, 24-12, a nice third quarter effort to come out. Now, they come back in 25-16, but you were probably trying to close that game out and move on to the next one, knowing that you had another one standing behind it. But let's talk about that game for a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, one, don't let the bags under my eyes fool you. I am happy. We go on a 3-game road trip, just, an 8-hour bus ride and getting home at 3:30 in the morning. It's always better after a win than a loss, I could tell you that. So, but starting with the first game there against Miami-Dade, we played them before, so we kind of knew what they were about and what they could do. So we just, stuck to our game plan. And like you said, that end fourth quarter, when you're playing 3 games in a row, it's about rest. So, I mean, I think I shut Morgan down real early. Obviously, if you look, Anaya didn't play that game. We rested her again, still resting her ankle, and just kind of, cleared the bench and let other people get minutes and just get to the next game. We knew we pretty much had that one in hand, and you start thinking about the next day.
And you talk about Robinson or Morgan, limited minutes, still put up 19 points.
Yeah. No, she was, and I told her, I said, you better get your points early because I'm going to rest you. So in that case, 19 points and still got rested in there. And we'll talk a little bit more about her in a little bit. But you had 2 others in double figures, and a good game, turnover-wise, 13-12. So both teams kind of matched up pretty good there. Yep. So in that case, if we look at shooting, free throw line 15-24. In a game like this, it doesn't bite us, but in a tight game, could affect us, Coach. It could. Good thing it didn't, and it wasn't a close one for that one. But I preach it all year. Free throws. I mean, they're free points. You have to make them. Good teams always, I say, make their free throws and make their layups. So those are the most important, simple things of the game of basketball. If you can do those, you put yourself in a good position to win games. So.
And if we look at from behind the 3-point line, 4 of 19.
Yeah.
Miami-Dade's defense that much? Did they take that long ball away, or?
I don't think they took the long ball away as much as we just didn't make shots that day. And it's kind of like that, and that's one thing I've also always told them. There's going to be days when those shots go in, and that whatever 11-point victory would be a 20-point victory. But the one thing that needs to remain constant is your defense and your rebounding. If you do those things, and then the shots do fall, and then that'll just determine how much you win by.
And it's good that Robertson's scoring a lot of her points inside anyway, so because she can get to the rim, breaks the defense down, and does a great job of getting in there. So you picked up a win. Now you mentioned that you played 3 games in a row. That kind of sounds like a state tournament or a national tournament prep. Yeah,
I mean it's definitely a full slate. And if you look at the game too, the Miami-Dade game was played at 7:30 at night, and then the next game the next day was at 2. So we went from the late game to the early game, so rest was super important. That's why I knew going into that, pulling everybody out in that fourth quarter, even some in the third, and not playing Anaya to make sure she was rested. Because Indian River is a good team, and they got their best player back. And, Keontae Downs did a great job on her, locking her up defensively. So I knew we needed to be at full strength for that game, and they were a good team, and they were well coached, and they played really hard. But we came up big down the stretch. I think Avalon Miller had a couple of key rebounds, and as I said to you, we missed Anaya Boyd. She came back and made a huge block at the end of the game to seal that game off. I mean, she was great, so it felt really good to have her back.
Well, in this case, we talk about the 10th ranked team in the state coaches poll. So that gives, if we look at the game by the quarters, we won 17-12. They won second 18-24. We come back out, got them 19-14 and 22-18. So, here again, some teams, they come out after halftime and they're a little slow to start. Yeah. I've seen a lot of indication that somehow or another, whatever you were saying to them in the locker room is not allowing them to be slow to start at third quarter.
I'll leave what I said in the locker room at halftime. I'll leave that down there in Florida Southwestern.
I don't really want you to repeat that, but in this case, but it's good to see that we don't come out, because that first 2 minutes of third quarter really established a lot for that game.
Yeah, and I wasn't, particularly happy with the way the first half went on our end. I thought there was a lot of things we could have done better, so I let the team know that, and to their credit, they responded. And I think our biggest lead in that game, I think we were up 11 at some point. So we really did extend it, and I felt that we were in pretty good control once we did extend it. And kind of towards the end, they hit a 3 at the end when we both knew it was kind of out of reach to close the gap on the score, but I felt pretty good. But they responded in the second half. They really came out and did what they needed to do, and I was pleased with that effort.
And you may be referring in a little bit, 22 turnovers in that game.
That's exactly what I was referring to, because I know for a fact there's 14 of those at halftime.
Okay.
So and I think we averaged maybe 13 or 14 for the entire game. We had it at the half, and that's what I was saying. I said, this team's not even doing anything. It's all our mental mistakes. And then kind of what I talked about before, the quick turnaround from a late game to an early game. Maybe you're mentally not there, a little fatigued, mental mistakes, making some stupid passes you normally shouldn't make. And we just need to sharpen that up. But in the second half, they did that.
So in that case, you did. Now, Robertson with 26. She's probably got to play a few more minutes.
She had to play a few more in that game. That was one of those games. I rested you yesterday. You better be ready to go today. But no, she was great. I mean, she carried the scoring load most of the weekend for us. And as good as she played that game, I thought she was even better in the third game against Florida Southwestern. But I mean, she was really, really key, really important for us against Indian River. And like I told you, we've missed Anaya Boyd. Anaya came back with 16 and I think 5 rebounds. So I mean, just her presence defensively, and just her presence with the girls, her impact on the team. She's like a leader without even, being too vocal, but by example. So just her being out there gives everybody that much more confidence.
So is she full game ready, or is she still playing?
She's still playing, nicked up, which her ankle was pretty bad. So that's why I rested her. She didn't play 3 games, but I knew Indian River and Florida Southwestern was better, so she tried it there. So still sore, but the best part is we have this break now, so she can just rest, recover, come back full, for our games after the break, and then get into conference.
So if we look at that free throw line, a little better tonight, 24 of 32 for 75%.
Yeah,
that's respectable.
No,
so
not bad. I'll take that.
2 of 12 from behind the arc.
Again, yeah.
and still put up 70 points.
And still put up 70.
And so that's the thing you have to look at. 22 of 58 from the floor for 37.9%. So a good win.
And now, I keep telling them, like I said, one day they're all going to fall. And that's going to be good.
If they do?
Yeah, if they do.
They'll need an adding machine to keep them. So in that case, we'll move on. But now you finished out playing Florida Southwestern. Yeah. At the time was ranked 6th in the state coaches poll, ranked 11th in the NJCA national poll. Beat them 80-68, a convincing win. Florida Southwestern was up by 1 at the end of the first, 20-19, and then we went on the tie at 18-17 up at halftime, but then 24-13 that third quarter. Here again, another nice third quarter opening, 19-18 for an 80-68 win.
Yeah, I mean that game too. I mean it was a really good game, just from I think a fan standpoint or basketball standpoint. Like there's 2 pretty high level teams, that were evenly matched somewhat going back and forth. And the way they came out in the first half, me and my assistant, we talked at halftime before we went in and talked to the team, and we both just said that there's no way that they can continue to keep this up for the full game. If they do, God bless them. But I think they were 50% from three, and some of those shots were contested, long. I mean, they came out hot. They played like, I think, their perfect half, and it was still 0-0 at halftime, 37-37. So we came out, we changed a couple little things at halftime, and I knew we would have more in the tank and we would be better, and obviously we showed that. I think we got up about 18 at one point. So, I mean, again, Morgan Robinson was great.
27.
Yeah, 27. So, I mean, she, as I said before, as good as she was against Indian River, I think she was even better in this game. And her defense, to me, and her rebounding kind of propels her offense. And I've been trying to preach that to her all year, that when she does that on that end, the offense takes care of itself. And clearly, 26, 27 points, back-to-back games. It's pretty darn good.
And then you had Boyd with 11,
Yep.
Downs with 12, and McCain with 10.
Yeah.
17 turnovers.
Yep.
Better than the night before.
Better than the night before.
23 of 27 from the free throw line. Now, you can win championships, Coach, with that.
You could say that's respectable.
85.2. Now, that's better than respectable. That's winning championships.
Yeah.
If you get to the line and knock goes down, we were 35% behind the three-point line for 7 of 20.
That helps.
So 20.
Right? So one of those games that I'm talking about. So, I mean, and that was it. And the good part that I like Imani Smith in that half, first half, hit 3 threes to help keep us in range. Like Jalea McCain didn't hit any threes, but Jalea has been, I thought, really good against Indian River, and then really good in this game, and came up big with 10 points, I think 5 boards. So she's really coming along and growing, and the team's getting more comfortable, with her accepting her role and doing what she does for us. So, I mean, I thought that was a great overall team effort. And obviously, like you said, 7 for 20, I think you said. A couple threes go in, and you get an 18-point lead, and you can kind of run that clock out a little bit.
And you put up 80 points for the night. So,
yeah.
Now we have just a little bit of time.
Okay.
Robertson, points per game, 3rd in the country right now.
Is she?
So 21.1 points a game, 3rd in the country. I thought that was something that we had to at least mention.
Yeah, it's probably, I think she probably deserves that, right?
Wright Gaskin for Chipola's 25th, McLaughlin for Chipola's 32nd, and we call her Anna from Tallahassee because we have a hard time with her last name. Is 42nd.
42nd. Okay.
So that's kind of where that is. Quickly, Chipola College, 14-0. Northwest, 12-0. Pensacola State College, 11-0. Gulf Coast State College is 10-12. Tallahassee Community College, 2-7. State coaches poll, Northwest and Chipola tied for first.
Yeah.
I think the national poll probably got it right. We'll talk about that. And then Pensacola State, then Gulf Coast State, then Eastern Florida, Florida Southwestern, Daytona, Santa Fe, Hillsburg, and Indian River. National poll, all first place points went to Northwest.
Yeah.
I think strength of schedule and some of that, I agree with that. Chipola, Pensacola's ranked 5th.
Yeah.
Gulf Coast is ranked 19th, and then 2 more from Region 8 would be Florida Southwestern at 23rd and Eastern Florida State at 24th in the country. But you got a little break.
We've got a break.
So they'll come back and play after Christmas?
After Christmas, we go to South Georgia Tech, where we're going to play a couple more ranked opponents. Georgia Highlands, who's still ranked high. South Georgia Tech, who's ranked in the top 20, I still believe. So we're going to play them in St. Pete. So again, you got 3 games in 3 days, and then you go into conference and you welcome the #1 team in the country to come here and play. So, as I've told you before, and everybody knows, this is the best conference in the country. If you can't even figure it out, I mean, you got Northwest 1, Chipola 2, Pensacola's in there, and then so are we. And then on top of that, you take the whole state and the region. Florida Southwestern, who's ranked, who we beat. Eastern Florida, who's ranked, we beat. We're all in the top 25. But to have four teams in our conference being there is really what makes it so tough, so special, and such a great conference.
That makes it a great conference.
It absolutely does.
For Coach Kuhn, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.